Hey, game players, Gabriel here, and this is a long overdue deck profile. I've actually recorded a bunch and just never got around to putting them up. So this one, I'm just going to do this one quick. Normally I try to find the cards and overlay the art for it online and edit it and all that, and then I just never get around to getting it done. And I haven't done a video in a while, so I just really wanted to get this one out. And this is a fun deck. I had a blast playing this deck, but I'm about to rip it apart to build something else because I only have so many copies of certain cards. And I wanted to get this one out here because it is a lot of fun. And I'm sure you read the title by now, but I do think this deck is relevant, or could be even more relevant if I played around with it some more, or spent money on better cards. But anyway, I'll explain the choices as I go. Um, but if you don't know what this deck is, it's basically snatch steal dot deck. You basically take your opponent's monsters, pretty much, and it's so much fun because a lot of things, with the exception of spirals, um, the spirals, you can't target them, but you have ways around that, especially in the side deck. Now this should be Graydle Kaiju's, but I was trying something different out, just something fun. But I do side the Kaijus, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's just start with the main deck. So first off, we have one Graydle Slime Junior. I really want to bump this up to 2. You only need one of him, but basically this one destroys 2 cards if it's in your hand or graveyard. Destroy 2 other Graydle cards you control and summon it, and then you can summon another level 3 from the grave. So you're basically losing 1 card to bring him out, another one, and then you sink for 8. But that's pretty good. But then this guy, when you normal summon him, you grab 1 from, I think it's the grave. Uh, yeah. So you get a Graydle from the grave, and then, but now you can't summon anything but water, which is fine. Most of what we run is water. And then you can grab another one. Like if you brought a level 3 out from the grave, you could bring a 3 out from your hand. So then you could sink for 8, which the boss monster, the Graydle Dragon, is amazing. But the whole thing is to try to sink for 8 whenever you can. But I think you need 2 of these. But to be completely honest, I was never actually able to get his effect off. So at 1, it wasn't bad. And both of these guys are searchable. But I think I would like to bump at least him up or him up, maybe both of them to 2, just so you see it without having to search it. But that's that. Then we go into the other Graydles. We have 3 copies of Graydle Eagle. He's your heavy hitter at 1500 attack, which I guess is pretty good for a level 3. He's got 500 defense, which isn't that good. But the thing about the Graydles is they all have attack and defense of 2,000 when you combine them together. I don't know why. That's just the way they did it. But when basically they all have the same effect, where they're destroyed by battle, you target an opponent's monster. As long as it was sent to the graveyard, you target opponent's monster and then equip this to your opponent's monster and take control of it. Now, if you're in a macrocosmos, that doesn't work. So that's one of those things. If everything's getting banished, you're out of luck. But as long as it hits the grave, it comes back. And this guy, they all have 2 effects. The one is destroyed by battle. This one, if it's destroyed by a monster effect, you can take control of an opponent's monster. Not just your opponent's monster effects, any monster effect, which is relevant. And then you have your Graydle Cobra coming in at 1,000 and 1,000. If he's destroyed by a trap card effect, you get its effect. And then 2 Alligator with 500 attack and 1,500 defense. You could run him at 3, but you really only have. You're not going to get his effect to destroy him by spell very often, so that's why I only run 2. I could only run 2 of the Cobra, but you needed the names, and I'd rather have the 1,000 attack than the 500 attack. It hurts less when you crash, because most of the time what you do is you summon it, crash into your opponent's monster by battle, and take control of it that way. But you do have ways of destroying it. And that's it with the Graydles themselves. But this is something I was trying. This is 3 True King Barastos the Fathomer. Basically, you destroy two monsters, either from your field or your hand, and then if one of them to special summon him, which 3,000 defense, that's pretty damn good. And then, if it was a water monster, you banish 2 cards from your opponent's field or graveyard, spell or trap cards. So that's really good. It's a pretty good effect, and everything you run is water. So as long as you're summoning it, you're always going to get that effect. Plus, he's good at destroying Eagle. So you summon it, banish 2, steal the opponent's monster. That was the theory behind playing 3 of these. And I want to play 3 just so I would see it some. Playing 1, I never saw it. So that's why I tried 3, and it worked out all right. And I do have another target, which is a little tech of mine. But I'll show you that in a second. But then we're also playing Barrier Statue of the Torrent. It basically says no monsters get special summoned other than water monsters. When I was originally testing the deck, I ran it in 1, and I didn't see it enough. So I bumped it up to 2, and when I played this weekend, I never saw it. I saw it 1 time at the end of a duel, and it didn't help me at all, which is really, really weird. But I never saw it. I saw it more at 1 than I did at 2. But this is a really good... it's only got 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense. But you have ways of getting it back onto the field, so... Plus, it's also water for Barastos and all that. Then you're going to play 1 Destrudo, because this is a synchro-heavy deck. So why not play it? And then this is my little tech. This is my favorite card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's just because it bothered my daughter so much. I'm not really sure. But I absolutely love this card. And it's not super relevant anymore. But basically, when it's destroyed while face up in a monster zone, you can have it go to your spell and trap zone instead. And then for every standby phase that passes, both yours and your opponent's, it gets a counter. And for every counter, all your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack and defense. I've always wanted to build a deck with this in it. And a long time ago, I had a deck that was focused on Ragna Zero. But I thought that this deck would actually utilize it more with the True King Baristos being able to just destroy it at will. And it did, but the only time that I was actually really able to get it off and get it going was against Weather Painter True Kings. And this version of Weather Painter True Kings, for some reason, never saw their Weather Painters, so I was basically playing True Kings and a masterpiece that is unaffected by spells or traps. This is useless. But anyway, this is just a fun card. And this is a fun deck, so I figured I'd put it in. And I don't know, I really like the card. That's why I put it in. But if you were going to build this to try to be competitive, this would probably be the first thing that you would take out. But like I said, I just want to see how it went. Then we have 2 Ghost Ogres. It's also... Not only is it the hand trap, but it's also a level 3 tuner, which could come in handy. And then 1 Maxi, because why not? It does clash with your Barrier Statue, but how often... You really don't keep the Barrier Statues on the field very often, but, you can't not run Maxi. I think it's, mandatory. So that's it with the monsters. So now we go to spells and traps. First spell we have is 3 Graydle Impact. This is your searcher for the deck. It's a continuous spell card. At the end phase, it's got 2 effects. The first one, you could target 1 other Graydle card you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy him. So this is meant to be used with Alligator. You destroy Alligator, 1 card your opponent controls, and then you take control of 1 of their monsters. But mainly, I found myself using it more for the second effect, which is to search during the end phase. If you didn't use the first effect, at the end phase, you add any Graydle monster to your hand. Any Graydle card, even a spell card or trap card. But we only run one other trap card, so that wasn't very relevant. Mostly I searched the monsters or your slimes. But anyway, it's a good card. Used it every game. It came in handy. Didn't win me any games, but it did come in handy. But it's too good not to run, and you really need it at 3 if you're gonna run it, because like I said, it's your searcher. We run 2 Pot of Desires. I hate this card. I really do. Banishing 10 cards. I never banished anything that I needed, so that was good when I did play it. But I do hate the card, but I'm still going to play it because it really is a +1, even if you're banishing 25% of your deck. It's too good not to run, especially since there's really no other draw engine in this other than your searcher. So, and it's locals, so I never got blossomed with it. But anyway, here we go. We have 2 surface. Basically, you target a level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. This is how you get your any Graydle that you would need, or your your chess piece, your barrier statue, just to bring it back, just to be really, really annoying. I did that a couple times, and people got mad at me, but anyway, it's really good. And then you have 2 instant fusions. I only have 1 target in the extra deck for it, but the theory is you want to see it, not all the time, but you do want to see it just to have access to the extra deck. And I really didn't see it very often, but I did see it. So it came in handy. 1 Foolish Burial for Destrudo. That's about the only thing you want to put in there. Or if you open up with your salvages or your back to the fronts, you get Foolish Burial monster and then bring it back. Soul Charge, because it's Soul Charge. Raigeki. Yes, you're trying to take your opponent's monsters. Sometimes, though, you just got to get rid of them, because if your opponent makes a huge, huge board, it's hard to deal with. So sometimes just being able to destroy them all comes in handy. Excuse me. And that's it with the spells. Trap cards. Graydle Split. This is a really interesting card. Looking at it, you can tell it's gonna. You're supposed to use it with Graydle Cobra. Basically, you equip this to any card, any monster you control. It'll gain 500 attack. And then during your main phase, you can send this card to the grave, destroy that monster, and if you do, you summon 2 Graydles with different names from your deck. So if you do happen to have it on a Cobra, not only are you going to summon 2 monsters, but you're also going to take one of your opponent's monsters. So good. 3 would be way too many, but 2 is really good. The attack boost is nice. Being able to just steal an opponent's monster is even better. 2 back to the front. This is like your defensive card. They get rid of the barrier statue. They go to summon something. You flip that, get your barrier statue or any of your Graydles. It brings it in defense, which really doesn't matter, because if they run over your Graydles, you're gonna get a monster. If you do it at right timing and get a barrier statue, it messes up their whole play. So bringing them back is good. Then you have 1 skill drain, because everything happens in the graveyard. Gets around, the entire deck runs around skill drain. You could flip this up. The only card that's affected by it in the main deck is your barrier statue. And if usually if you have skill drain up, your opponent can't do a whole lot. I really wish that was at more than 1 while I'm playing this deck. And then if I'm not playing this deck, I don't want to see it at all. But it's a really good card, so you got to run it. Then you have 2 strikes and a warning to finish up the traps, and that's just your you basically tell your opponent no in Yu-Gi-Oh, so you cannot play. That's it with the main deck. I want to say it's exactly 40 or 41 cards. I'm not 100% sure. Extra deck. Start with the links because they're the new thing. Star Boy increases the attack of all water monsters by 500. Never made it at all. Never wanted to make it. Decode Talker. Again, it's a good card, but never wanted to make it. Topologic Bomber Dragon. That should be a firewall, but I lent my firewall to somebody. The firewall would be a lot better than him, especially with Soul Charge, but that's still a good card. I like that card. So that's it with the links. One Sea Monster Theseus is a level 5. It works with your Graydles to make your Graydle Dragon. So that's why he's in there, in case you just can't get to anything. And now the star of the extra deck, your Graydle Dragons. Basically, when it's synchro summoned, you can target any cards on your opponent's side of the field up to the number of materials used. So if you use Theseus or regular slime, you're going to destroy 2 cards. If you use Slime Junior, you could destroy 3. And then if it gets destroyed and goes to the graveyard, you could special water monster from your graveyard. So if you get 2 of them out, you could just keep recycling them. I never had that happen, but you can. You have that ability. And then second MVP of the extra deck is White Aura Whale. When it comes out, it basically Raigekis your opponent's field. It can make 2 attacks on monsters per turn, which is a really weird effect considering, when it comes out, it's going to destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. So I guess it's supposed to do cleanup on the defense too. And then when it's destroyed, you can banish a water monster from your graveyard and return it back to the field. So that's pretty good. And I just dropped the rest of my extra deck. Oh my goodness. Anyway, those 2 synchros are about all you ever make. That's about all you ever go into your extra deck for. But you do have other options. Leviair, just in case things get banished. Never made it. Never even had to make it. And then you have the True King of all calamities. But going back, actually, if you're going to banish something to bring this one back, then you can Leviair it back the next turn. But that's still a lot of resources. True King of all calamities. It's a really good card. You make everything water. But never got 2 of the True Kings on the field at the same time. But you can. That's why it's there. Just as an option. Never made it. Cypher and Lord Omega, just because you can make it easily. This whole deck is pretty much centered around level 8s. So you should be playing more level 8s, but that's all I got. And then a Trishula. You make that with 2 of your Graydles and your Ghost Ogre. I almost made it once, but then one of my monsters got Book of Moon, and I couldn't do anything. So that's that. That is the extra deck. It's not even a full 15-card extra deck. Like I said, you hardly ever go into your extra deck. Now the side, you run 1 of the good Kaijus, 1 Slumber. Not running the field spell, but really the field spell just searches. It is a good card if you run it. But like I said, I wanted to try out the True King stuff, and there was just no room for him. But the Kaiju package is good. Then, since this is almost like an anti-meta with the barrier statue, and it's a control deck. So you run your Fossil Dinos. People may not run into it thinking that it's a Graydle, so they don't want to lose their monsters. And then on your turn, you flip it up, and that's that. So that's where that comes in. I put it in once, and it was helpful. It was. I like the card. And then Unwavering Bond for your Pendulum Sorcerers. Never had to play him, thankfully. And then for ABCs, the next 5 cards is what I side in almost all the time. Light Imprisoning Mirror for ABC. It just shuts that deck down. And then Summon Limit. Flip that at the right time, and your opponent can't do anything. Unfortunately, sometimes it hinders you too. But if you're just going to summon a Graydle, steal a monster, and go, then this card is amazing. Especially if you go first against Spiral and you can get that out and they can't pop it. Or just about any other deck. But that is this deck. I'm not going to do test hands with this. Because like I said, I just wanted to make a short, sweet little video. I'm about to take this apart. But it was a lot of fun, and if you have it, it's real super duper cheap. Like the dragons, I think are 5 Graydle dragons, and then all the other Graydle monsters are like 5 cents each, 10 cents, 20 cents, whatever. Um, but it's 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 hard to find. The dragons are, but like I said, it's just such a it's a fun, annoying deck that makes people mad when they play it. So that's why I played it. And like I said, if you replace the pump princesses with, maybe evenly matched in the side, or you just get rid of the pump princesses at all and put the kaiju's back in, that gives it a little bit more viability, I believe. And also you can replace throw in some ash foreheads in there, and you can make the deck a lot better. But I built it for fun, and it's going to be one of those decks that I'm going to pull out every now and then just to make people think, because I really do like it. Like I said, that we're in a format now where you can target boss monsters most of the time. So anyway, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Hopefully, keep playing.